What's up, guys? This is Mark. This is Sacramento Real Estate. Today we're talking a little Granite Bay, California. We're going to be talking about Los Lagos. We're going to be talking about Shelborne, and we're going to be talking about Wexford. I brought two pros. As always, my man, the myth, Aaron Clowes, New Way Mortgage. Javier Ortiz, insurance guru. Let's get started with the show right now. What's up, guys?
What's going down, man?
So let's talk a little, these three kind of like epic communities in Granite Bay. First of all, Granite Bay is if someone grows up in Sacramento, their dream is one day.
Like, I made it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and these are monster houses. You know, I mean, there's not like, it's hard to find a small house. A small house in Granite Bay is like 4,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. You know, it's crazy. So as far as that stuff goes, like as far as the three different areas, as far as Granite Bay, like what are you looking at as far as insurance, like fire, like home, all that kind of fun stuff?
So it's pretty much a location, right? It seems like the closer you are towards the lake, the more expensive your insurance is going to be, unless people want to write policies there, right? So you're probably going to get a California Fair Plan policy.
Okay.
Is that because the closer you get to Folsom Lake, the further you are from the fire department, or is it like?
I think it just has to do with brush in general, right?
Okay.
So the more Granite Bay rural you are,
mm-hmm.
the more tree density, heavy brush, and insurance companies just don't want to take the risk.
Yeah.
Because they blame it on the wind sometimes. There could be a fire and they're like, oh, the wind could come and catches one tree, then it spreads, and these homes are so big that they don't want to take the losses. They're insured for $1, $2, $3 million. They're like, we don't want it.
Sure.
All right. So a lot of people might not know, you got like Wexford, which is kind of like the golf course-ish kind of thing. Right. You're riding a golf cart around, everything's nice, and there's like water features and everything too. It's gated, private, very secure. Los Lagos, really beautiful community. I mean, it's awesome. The rock formations now and again are a little awkward, but at the same time, beautiful place. Mm-hmm. Security is very tight as well there. No one's jumping a fence, everything right. too. And then Shelborne, which is kind of the one out of the three that doesn't have like security. It doesn't have it has a guard tower, no guard, but beautiful houses. So as far as those three go, like Aaron, what are you thinking as far as like, which one do you work with a lot?
I'd say most likely the ones that come up the most, I feel like, is the Los Lagos. And, I feel like the differentiator in the neighborhoods is like the Wexford. Although, like, don't get me wrong, these are not cookie cutter houses or anything like that by any means, but it's much more of like a master plan community, golf course community. A lot of the homes are the similarities in the architecture and those kinds of things. Whereas like if you go into Los Lagos, it is a gated community with a giant wall around it and all that stuff. But every single house in there, it's like completely custom. They did their own thing, and you see some just crazy over the top houses. But then there's also like some modest, and I say modest, but like, modest $1.5, $2 million homes in a world of $3-4 million homes or whatever. But, I think it more so comes down to the clients that we work with. I feel like that are going into that area, they're more established. Their kids maybe are like out of school at that point. Whereas like the families, I feel like a lot of them go more towards like the central part of Granite Bay versus like Los Lagos and Shelborne. That's kind of like off in like the almost like countryside where it's more custom, bigger lots, those kinds of things. They're all beautiful though. And they're all going to cost, somewhere in that same range for the most part. It's just kind of deciding like what you want really in the community.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Javier, what do you think? Okay, Aaron brings up a good point. You have like Los Lagos that's out there, you have like Shelborne that's out there, and you have Wexford that's kind of like closer to like the community area. Like, are you looking at as far as like for insurance on those spots, like which one do you see as like, ooh man, that's gonna hurt every month?
Los Lagos.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking?
I wrote 2 policies last year, regular 4,000 square foot home, $8 to $10,000 a year.
Oh wow! So that
insurance.
Okay, so we're talking homeowners. We're talking like what's kind of wrapped up. Is there flood over there too?
No, it's just California Fair Plan with a policy called a DIC or a RAP policy that covers like your liability, personal property, and the California Fair Plan just covers fire. So essentially, you got to carry 2 policies to equate to 1.
Basically, the insurance company's like, that's a higher fire risk, so we won't cover for fire damage. We'll cover all the other normal stuff, but the fire damage, you got to get something else for that. And then that's where that fair plan gets added.
Yep.
And
Oh man, that's nuts. That's an additional little bit of like a morsel to pay every single month. A lot of people need to factor that in too if they're looking at that area.
absolutely.
So, okay, as far as HOAs go, we've got all of them are pretty much the same, somewhat, in there. But Shelborne doesn't have a gate security, but they have somewhat competitive HOAs with both Wexford and with Los Lagos. What do you guys feel like? Do you feel kind of gypped a little?
Well, part of what you're getting in your HOA dues in those communities is all like, I mean, you've got, especially in Wexford, like some really elaborate landscaping basically. So, I mean, it's like they probably have a full-time landscaping company that just works exclusively for their community almost. Whereas like Los Lagos, you'd mentioned the rock outcroppings and all that.
Yes.
They've, although Los Lagos is amazing, but they've kind of done like hey, we're going to let the natural beauty of the area be our landscaping for the most part. So I feel like it's cheaper on like quote unquote landscape maintenance, but they've got a full-time gate guard versus like Shelborne. It's like landscaping wise, I feel like is a step up from there. So
Yeah. Well, okay, Javier, you've seen some policies and everything too. What do you think as far as price points for these places?
It really depends on location, right? I've done a couple quotes in Granite Bay where they get approved, no problem, and it's like $2,000. Super happy. And someone down the street, like, hey, you did a policy for one of my neighbor. I'm getting non-renewed by Liberty Mutual. Can you do a quote for me? And I'm like, you're fair plan now. And people don't understand, like, but I'm like half a mile down the way, and everything's based on location. Like they drop a pin, and they're like, go around it, and they're like, oh no, too many trees. And it's just trees. It's not like brush, right? Because you could buy a house in Wilton and not be in a high fire zone, but it's on the country. But once you get around trees, that's when it gets tricky. So the more trees, the more expensive your insurance, I tell people.
And Granite Bay's got a lot of trees. That's part of why everybody, like, it's a really pretty area. And part of it's because you got all that natural landscaping because you're basically like butted up to the west side of Folsom Lake, right?
It's beautiful. I mean, it is so beautiful. If you're looking for an estate home, people like Eddie Murphy have lived like in the Granite Bay area. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So as far as like price per square foot, easily those three communities are some of the highest.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's just nuts. But I will say each one has their own kind of style. You know what I mean? Like you said, Wexford's a little master planned. Los Lagos, I'd say more you're going to find like your Mediterranean kind of vibe there. And then like in Shelborne, you're going to find more like the Tudor style kind of homes. So like, I always say, I'm like, when you drive down Shelborne, it looks like those dollhouses you get your kid, you know what I mean? That open up.
Right.
It's a beautiful area. But I mean, they're so different, but all pricey. I mean, it's hard to find areas, I would say in communities in Sacramento in general that go, price per square foot with those guys, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's like the big communities. And so I don't know.
It's always been that way though. Granite Bay, I've lived here my whole life, and Granite Bay has always been one of those areas where it's like, oh, you're from Granite Bay? Like you're like a rich person or, whatever kind of thing. And, that's not the case. I mean, there's normal people all over the place, but Granite Bay is like, it's a really nice community. The price points have really held up. And, you also have fantastic schools, a lot of really great restaurants. I mean, all the things that kind of come along with being in a higher price point neighborhood, basically.
Well, another thing too is like location, right? Like, you know how it is like in Sacramento, you're either on the 50 or the 80. Granite Bay has that kind of distinction where you can go kind of either way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You're close to 50, close to 80. You still got all the scenery. You're close to all the shopping in Roseville, and that's where you go for the shopping. You got like, Louis Vuitton, you got like Gucci, places I don't go, but
YSL now.
I know, it's just nuts. So those are the three communities kind of broken down. And, like I said, thank you guys for coming in and talking a little bit about this.
For sure.
And guys, if you guys have any questions about Granite Bay, the various communities, reach out to me. If you got a loan that needs to be done, Aaron is the man, the myth, the legend. And Javier, he runs kind of Sacramento as far as insurance stuff goes. So reach out to him as well, too, if you're looking for something insurance-wise. And look, I know my viewers, and I know people are very, very curious about fire insurance, about homeowners insurance. Javier is like a staple. I know at least if you call a realtor, chances are they probably use him. So reach out to him as well, too. Guys, until next time, hopefully you enjoyed the video. We are out of here. Guess what, guys? The video just ended. But don't worry, we have more videos just like that one right over there. And if you missed that red subscribe button during the course of the video, we got you covered right there. Hit that subscribe button. We promise to bring you some amazing content. We won't let you down. Now, if you're looking for a team in the Sacramento metro area to work with, we'd love to talk to you one-on-one. We always include a Zoom link down below, so book a time where we can talk to you a little one-on-one, find out exactly what your real estate needs are.